The GOP in Idaho, people, oh Lord, have you seen some of the video from their debate the other night? This is all going viral. We got a whole bunch of clips. Let's start with Harley Brown. This is his opening statement on why he's going to run for president.
They say that the child is the father of the man. And when I was a kid, I used to play Army all the time. Bang, I got you. No, bang, I got you. I could never once remember one incident in my childhood when I played politician. I got out of the service, and several years later, I was at the low point of my life. I mean, things were bad. And I cried out to God. I said, God, how about putting me back on active duty and making me a battalion commander? Long story short, he says, no, son, I got a higher rank for you. I'm going to make you the commander-in-chief. And I stagger not at his promise. I'll get into that more with you. Don't think I'm crazy, because I'm not.
Well, I kind of think you're crazy. Yes, that man is actually running for governor in Idaho, not president, governor. You guys want to just field any of that before we get to some of these other clips?
So
I mean, this is real.
Yes.
This is real.
This is real, yeah. When you see that you've got there were 4 guys in this debate, and 2 of them, one was the incumbent Republican governor of Idaho, and then the other, I think, is a Senate leader or in the Senate of Idaho State, and then you've got these 2 other guys, very, as they say, colorful characters.
Colorful characters, yes.
I mean, I wouldn't vote for any one of them because they're Republicans, and I don't agree with Republicans. Sometimes I don't agree with Democrats either, but I mean, it definitely makes the debate a little more interesting. And also, there's something kind of refreshing to see normal people trying to represent their constituents,
well,
right?
Maybe regular people, not necessarily normal.
Fair enough. But I would venture to say that the majority of people are not like buttoned up, individuals that talk like this when they're making a point. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of nice and refreshing to see someone comfortable in their own skin and talking about their lives in a genuine, sincere way.
Yeah, obviously we're going to go with the jokes on this, and then we're going to show you some more clips, and there's plenty of stuff that we can make fun of. But I do totally agree with you. This guy was talking off the top of his head. This was stream of conscious stuff, and we never see that. And that's what we're always asking for. So I do have a little bit of sympathy for him or whatever for what he said. But let's listen to Harley Brown talking about gay marriage.
Discrimination. Let me tell you about discrimination. In 1964, the blacks got the Civil Rights Act passed. We bikers, discrimination. The cops, we are cop magnets, like a Playboy bunny wearing a miniskirt gets hit on all the time. They pull us over without probable cause, and they bring out the sniffing dogs, and they search us on our bikes. Even when we're not flying our colors, if you're a leather-clad Harley Davidson driver, the cops are going to zero in on you like a heat-seeking missile. Okay, discrimination. I used to drive taxis in Boise for 20 years at night. And I picked up my fair share of the gay community, and they have true love for one another. I'm telling you, they love each other more than I love my motorcycle. And, they're just as American as a Medal of Honor winner, and liberty and justice for all, equal protection under the law. I'm glad that judge made that decision, and I'm glad that they want to get married and live like that. And I know I'm not really talking like a Republican, but...
Could we hear from Mr. Bayes?
Sorry, ma'am. I didn't know what my time limit was. Okay. I didn't see any of these lights going on.
I mean, this guy's my new hero. He thinks gays love each other more than he loves his bike. That's a lot, because he definitely loves his bike.
That was a lot for him to say that, yeah. I know. Well, see, now what's interesting is, so now we are watching the Idaho governor debate.
Yes.
Nobody would ever have watched at all, because these guys brought something new and fresh to it, which is, real people saying real things, even though they're somewhat fringy in some fashion. But for him to say that, to bring his own personal experience as, like a real person, not a politician, it's pretty neat, actually, to hear him say.
Yeah, it reminded me of when gay marriage was just starting to come around, and Obama kept saying, well, I haven't fully evolved yet. And everyone was like, well, we know that that's just political bullshit speak. Right. And everyone did it. Hillary did it, and Biden did it, and everybody. And this guy, because he was a cab driver for 20 years ago, knew what gay people were like and saw no problem with it. So yeah, it is incredibly refreshing, as much of a cartoon character as he is.
I love that video clip. It was so sweet. I don't know if our mics were on while we were watching it, but I was like, oh, like, you just don't expect that in, you know, a gubernatorial debate involving GOP candidates. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So I liked him. So far, so good.
Well, Harley was not the only one to chime in on gay marriage. Let's listen to Walt Bayes.
My response is my main loyalty is to God Almighty, and what He says is what I go by. And this is part of the Bible. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, who, knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bayes.
Oh, well, it's nice to see a more mainstream Republican. I thought they were losing their minds for a second.
Well, you know, speaking about mainstream Republicans, I mean, he said it flat out, that Harley Brown guy, about not talking like a Republican. That might be something that maybe Republicans could listen to and say, oh, wow, maybe not everybody is along the same narrow thought process that Republicans are required to these days, apparently, if they want to run for office.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say I don't know the threshold for getting into this debate, what you had to be polling at, because could that man have been polling at more than 0.5%?
I mean,
I don't know Idaho that well, is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows?
Well, and also one more thing. Remember in the 2012 election, I don't know if you guys recall, when it was Ron Paul and the Ron Paul 2012 campaign, you know, those groups were very, very good at working the primary system, you know, in their county, at the county level, and finding ways to ensure that, you know, their votes were heard, and that Ron Paul did very well. In fact, they worked their way up through the ranks in the local Republican Party establishment, and because they did so well in I don't want to say gaming, that's the wrong word, but they did so well in using the system to forward the candidate that they wanted, who was not the GOP establishment candidate. Then you found the GOP establishment trying to change the rules and lock them out and, you know, shout them down. And, you know, there are all kinds of stories up at bradblog.com about what happened to the folks that were supporters of Ron Paul in the 2012 campaign and how they were systematically shut out and, you know, almost in violent confrontations sometimes. So, you know, I love it that these other people are able to get in, but I'm interested in seeing how these guys got in, because the GOP establishment has been very strict and they're tightening the noose on preventing people who are not establishment approved to get in.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let's go back to our good friend Harley Brown. This is on some bigoted jokes that he posted online.
You've posted bigoted jokes on your website, skewering women and gays and Jews and Asians and Polish people like
and
me.
Bikers and Irishmen too.
And yeah, Irishmen too.
A substantial portion of my political campaign is campaigning against political correctness. And I like blue-collar values. And those Harleyisms that I called had a lot of warning on there. You know, you might find this offensive, but I hit everybody. Jews, Polish people, Irish, Italians, religious jokes, and black jokes. And by the way, my wife screened that, and we took the real hardcore zingers out. So in case I get any flack from people like you, note that, you're mild, I can fire that back and attack my attackers. I don't like political correctness. Can I say this? It sucks. It's bondage. And I'm about as politically correct as your proverbial turd in a punch bowl. And I'm proud of it, and I'm going for it, and I'm going for the vote of the real people out there, not these bondage type people who don't have a clue about picking up strangers at night and hauling them God knows where. Try that for a while.
All right.
He kind of lost his train of thought as he kept talking about bondage. He's like, those bondage types.
I'm completely on board the sentiment of that as a comedian, and you equal opportunity. As Jimmy says, you have to make fun of everybody. Watch Family Guy. If you make fun of everybody, then that's how you do it, and that's how you're fair. I didn't get the end about the people who's he taking in
I think he's referring to prostitutes.
Oh,
was that what he's talking about? I don't. That's the sense I got.
He lost me at the end there.
Yeah.
I think he refers back to he drove taxis late at night when he mentioned like gay folks, and he picked people up and take them God knows where, and who knows who this person is in my back seat, but.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're all agreed that that political correctness has run amok, and this was very refreshing. Isn't it refreshing to hear that?
Well, no, I
Even
think
if he's a little nutty, okay.
Yeah, he is a little nutty, and yeah, I think political correctness can definitely go too far. But the idea of what it was supposed to be is, sometimes it is possible that when you're talking to people, you're saying things that you may not realize are actually very offensive to them. So it's the idea of learning what manners are and learning how to be nice to people and to speak with them in ways that are not antagonistic, arrogant, hostile, or offensive, and sort of teaching people that, language turns and changes and evolves over time, and maybe sometimes it's okay not to offend people and to have some manners.
Yeah, okay.
That's how I look at, the idea underneath what is now called political correctness is really about, can you find a better way to, behave more nicely to other people.
But should we do one more with these guys?
Yeah, just
okay, so one more with these guys. Let's go to clip number 10 about jail time.
If lightning struck and you were elected governor, could you do the job?
Well, back when they told me that we couldn't homeschool, I prayed about it. I stood on my hind legs like a man. I told them what I thought of them, and the television would talk to me for 30 minutes or an hour. And, well, what would you do if they came out to take your kids? Well, I'd shoot them. What else would you do? I can stand up where these guys are falling down. I don't know how to put it, but how many of them have been in jail for what they believe? How many of them come out of jail and said, you haven't changed a thing? And if I am the governor, it'll be my job, my duty, and my privilege to stop abortions in this state, and it'll stay that way till somebody throws me out.
I'm guessing you ladies don't agree with his sentiment on that one?
No, absolutely, but I support his right to say whatever he wants, and I support people who want to make sure that he does not get into office so that those kinds of repressive and awful policies don't ever happen.
Dude, like you're an elderly man. Like, you don't have a lot of time left, right? Enjoy your life. Honestly, really, you're gonna run for governor of a state just so you can outlaw abortion. Like, that's the one thing you want to do before you go. Have a freaking pina colada and enjoy. Like, I don't understand these people.
He looks like
really
the type
don't.
of guy that would enjoy a nice pina colada.
Yeah.
He does. He really does. Like, that's definitely his drink.
He's doing a gubernatorial debate where he's reading the Bible to us and then telling us, like, the one issue that he wants to focus on is abortion and getting rid of reproductive rights in his state. Like, that sounds like such a sad existence to me. It really does. But if that's what he feels strongly about, you're right. I mean, I'm glad that he's being transparent about it. I'm glad that he's being open about it. Obviously, like, he has all the freedom in the world to be fired up about whatever issue. But it's just, I can't imagine myself, in my 70s or 80s or whatever, saying, or I don't know, he might be in his 60s, I have no idea. Like, saying, okay, so before I go, the one thing that I want to make sure I do is make people's lives a little more difficult.